we as a culture, we need to embrace these sort of stories. They're very important.
Welcome back, everybody. My name is Phil Marriott. I'm with Raj Rudolph. We are Boys on Film. If you're into music and movies, this is the channel for you. Movie reviews, TV, show unpacking videos, and of course interviews with the best music artists. And you do a lot of those as well on EQ Music Blog. Let's give a plug for your website, Raj.
Oh, we've been known to interview a music artist every once in a while. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of good stuff on there. Today we're talking about Them Covenant, which is out on Amazon Prime on the 9th of April. We got a sneak preview for the first 2 episodes on South by Southwest at the festival just a few weeks ago. This is a TV series from Little Marvin. I would say he's definitely one to watch because, you know, he's bound to have comparisons with Jordan Peele because, you know, you could see there are connections, but I think there's definitely something very exciting about what he's doing. Jordan Peele, I'm a big fan of, but I think Little Marvin taps into something a bit more psychological. There's not so much jump scares. I mean, yeah, this is horror tinged. I mean, it's more to do with the horror of humanity, really, isn't it? I guess, as opposed to like ghosts and ghouls and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
psychological scares. But I really was entranced with these first 2 episodes. Yeah. So I'm on Friday when this thing drops, I'm probably gonna binge it because it grabbed me. I really love this whole renaissance of black filmmakers and TV producers really getting their say in this genre. I love Lovecraft Country. Thought it was fantastic. I know I liked it a little bit more than you did.
Yeah.
Lovecraft Country, Get Out, Us, Them. It's all fantastic, and I'm just really liking this new angle of storytelling. I'm hoping we get more stories like this in the future because I'm living for it right now, loving everything that's coming out.
It's interesting you mentioned Lovecraft Country because I wanted that to be what this is, if you know what I mean. I think
really?
Lovecraft Country, I guess, was more action, wasn't it? Because it was so full on. I think that's what pushed me over the edge a little bit because I just thought, no, this is a bit ridiculous because I wanted it to be the interesting concept that it is, but of course it was pushing the buttons, which I respect as well. I think this is pushing the buttons in a different way, though. I think you're right. I agree. I think there's so many interesting ideas, and all of this is totally mainstream as well, which is brilliant because you know these ideas are, you know, they get people talking. They get people talking about the problems that people have faced right the way back. I mean, obviously this is based in the 50s.
So this is a story about a black family that's moving to California from the South, in the infamous neighborhood known as Compton. But it's not the Compton that we know now today. It's 1950s Compton with white picket fences and all sorts of, apple pie, 1950s goodness. And the neighborhood is completely white. And they don't take too happily to a black family moving in. So they terrorize the family in all sorts of psychological ways.
I love that scene when they arrive in the neighborhood and they're pulling up into the driveway, and it's so brilliantly done because it's kind of slow motion but isn't. You can feel that tension, you can feel the fear almost, you can smell it. It's so good. But I mean, isn't it ironic? You know, you think about the white families that have obviously got a problem with this black family arriving, and they look so sweet and innocent and so smiley and everything's sugar-coated, but beneath that exterior, my God,
they're holding the knife, right? They're holding the knife close to the back.
Exactly. It's like smiling assassins, isn't it? They're just evil people. But anyway, let's talk about the cast, because this stars Deborah Ayurindi from Girls Trip, Ashley Thomas, who I think is based in the UK, isn't he? He's a British actor. He was in Been So Long. Shahadi Wright Joseph, who was in Us. Alison Pill as well, who was in Snowpiercer. She's one of the white girls that, the evil sort. But it's so brilliant because I think what humans do is way more frightening sometimes than what, you know, ghouls and ghosts and demons can do. I think it really taps into that psychological fear and the worst of humanity.
There was one scene, and I'm sorry if this is a spoiler, but it just has to be talked about. So there's a scene where literally, like, the whole town is sitting outside on their lawn, just staring at them.
Yeah.
And like, having a little kiki, but kind of an evil kiki with iced tea, and just sitting down and staring inside the house. And I was like, oh my God, that gave me like Michael Myers vibes.
Absolutely.
You know, because again, it's that whole thing about being in broad daylight and terrorizing people in broad daylight that I find absolutely terrifying. So,
and also neighbors, because neighbors can be evil as well, and it's that fear that you know you've got to live with these people, live, you know, across the road or next door to these people, and you know they could make your lives hell. And you know, this is the start of something which, you know, I mean, it's just scratching at the surface, really, isn't it? Because there's so much other stuff that I'm sure is going to come out of this series that is going to get even darker and more twisted. Because, you know, we know a lot of, you know, real life events in history that have gone way further than what this series has done already in just the first 2 episodes. But it's so brilliant because it's completely compelling. I think the way it's shot as well, it's beautiful to look at.
Yeah. And for me too, like, these stories need to be told, you know, and they're the sort of stories that got erased from our history. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, you know, I know everything about 1950s Compton, and if this is actually a true part of history. But I'm going to look it up, and, you know, and if I think it is based on, you know, a certain situation. So, you know, these are the type of stories that need to be told, just like in Watchmen when they had the Tulsa massacre. You know, we were never taught about this stuff, you know, in our history books and as kids when we were growing up. So I'm glad that, you know, these Black filmmakers are taking these stories that were erased from our history and giving them highlight. You know, it should be taught in our schools, just like all the other important historical events. And, you know, it's unfortunate that it takes so many years before we actually learn about this sort of stuff, but fixing the problems of our past is important. And, you know, we as a culture, we need to embrace these sort of stories. They're very important.
Absolutely, I completely agree with what you just said. I'm really looking forward to where this goes as well, because I've got a funny feeling that it's going to be the first series in many. I know that the director, Little Marvin, who's obviously come up with this concept as well, I think he's co-written it as well, or he has written the whole thing maybe. But yeah, he's the executive producer for this too. So he signed a deal with Amazon Studios. So I'm guessing that, you know, it could be like American Horror Story, what that is, you know, with a different concept for each series. But it's obviously based on the terrors of America from 50s up to now, I guess.
Yeah, these stories need to be told.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. So for me, it is a 5 across the board.
Wow. Okay, well, I was going to go with the 4 just because I haven't seen the rest of the series, but I think it bodes well, though. I think it is a really good start. It's a promising start, so I'll go for 4 now, but hopefully when I've seen the whole thing, I will give it a 5, because I think it deserves a 5.
Lil Marvin, don't disappoint. We've only seen the first 2 episodes, but we're quite happy with what we've seen so far. So don't disappoint us. But yeah,
definitely. And if you've watched them, let us know what you think about them Covenant, I should say, the first series of many, hopefully. If you've enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. Thank you. If you have subscribed, if you haven't, get onto it now, and we'll bring you more content very, very soon. See you on the next one.